Welcome back to Nye County. I am Dan Schinhofen. Thanks for joining us. We've talked about the Fall Festival. We've talked about the county road system and the need to increase the gas tax. We have a lot of good things here in Nye County. We have the CCA, which is the Corrections Corporation of America, runs the Nevada Southern Detention Facility. It's not a jail, it's a detention facility. Nobody can be sentenced there. This detention facility sits up at Mance Road, up by the dump. It has it just had its 5th year anniversary, by the way, and I was there and got to talk to the warden. There were a lot of people against this. Well, there was this same group of people that are against just about everything that comes in the community. But since this has been in place the last 5 years, they have over 200 jobs that it brought to us, over $1 million or nearly $1 million in property tax. Their payroll's around $10 million a year. It has really been a good thing for the community overall. I understand some people who live near it aren't happy with it, but we did put berms from the highway. You can't really see it at night. They've been a good neighbor. No ghettos have sprung up, but there's some of the stuff we were told. Ghettos were going to spring up around it, and people were going to be released and wander down our streets, and there were going to be escapes, and people were going to be hiding out in houses, and none of that stuff happened. There is a small vocal minority in this community that, well, watch this. I think this says it best.
The trustees have a few suggestions they would like to submit to you.
I think you know what the trustees can do with their suggestions. I don't know what they have to say. It makes no difference anyway. Whatever it is, I'm against it. No matter what it is or who commenced it, I'm against it. Your proposition may be good, but let's have one thing understood. Whatever it is, I'm against it. And even when you've changed it or condensed it, I'm against it. I'm opposed to it. On general principles, I'm opposed to it.
He's opposed to it. In fact, indeed, he's opposed to it.
For months before my son was born, I used to yell from night till morn. Whatever it is, I'm against it. And I've kept yelling since I first commenced it. I'm against it.
All right. Who doesn't like Groucho Marx? Oh, I can answer that. My wife. I've been married 38 years, and the bone of contention between us is she hates the Marx Brothers, doesn't think they're funny. They are just wonderful. That clip, I always hear that when this same group comes up and says, no to this, no to that, no, the county shouldn't run a public utility. We run 18, but never mind. No, we shouldn't allow the raceway to have a lake. Well, that's brought in a lot of economic development, and they gave us 2-to-1 water rights. They built retention basins, been a good thing for the community, and things like CCA and the detention facility. After 5 years, I think we've shown that, you know what, it's been a benefit to the community. Can you imagine the last 5 years with 200 less jobs? I mean, just to continue to say this isn't a good thing, it just amazes me. We also have a new industry that's come in, medical marijuana. We have a few places open. I mentioned to somebody the other day that this one facility that's going to just start to go underway will have at least 20 jobs, and I was called a liar. Well, I checked with the one in particular that is open now that it is already, well, has stuff for the labs, and it should be going to dispensaries soon. They have a little over 20 employees, and they're smaller than this new site that's going in. I understand we had a really hard vote, and again, I said during the meeting, and somebody told me I wasn't very clear on it, so I want to try to be clear now. I really appreciate the hard work of those that people in that neighborhood who went out and got signatures and didn't want it in their neighborhood. But that particular project on Hafen Ranch and Thousand Air, I had no other vote to make there. The use of that property before was commercial manufacturing, light industrial. And that was the first step of this was, do we zone this light industrial? It was master plan. When it was zoned before, it was given a neighborhood commercial zoning, but it was master planned as rural commercial manufacturing. Again, let's go back. Its use before was commercial manufacturing, light industrial. They had paints and solvents, and they did woodworking, and they did finished products. That was a lot more dangerous than what's going to be going in there now, and all of the safeguards that we put around these medical marijuana facilities is just amazing. As a matter of fact, hopefully next month when I host this show again, I will have the head of the local Nye County Consultants Association who deals with medical marijuana here, and she'll be able to tell you about some of the outreaches they do and some of the processes they use and how safe these places really are and not open to the public. So, but that one was not an easy vote for me. I know many of the people there, and I did meet with the local utility owner a few weeks before, and they gave me their reasons why they didn't support it. I gave them my reasons why I did. I heard nothing in the meeting that could change that. Again, it goes back to that zoning. The zoning use was commercial manufacturing, light industrial. We zoned it commercial manufacturing. Once it fit that zoning, the SUP process, special use permit, that we put into place based on state laws that came through, and then we had a number of hearings on what the setback should be, how far from schools, how far from churches, what kind of security measures they had to be put in place, all of these things. We had months and months of hearings. And this neighborhood, the people who lived there came out and didn't want it in their neighborhood. I get that, but this is another 20 jobs minimum that's coming to this community with a good tax base. There is one of these I voted for that's a half a mile from my house, which is at least as close to me than most of that area. They are up and running. They have plants that are flowering. You don't have a smell. There is no smell outside the building. There is no people hanging around. These are very secure. They're gated. You have to have an appointment to get onto the facility, particularly cultivation places. That's what these are. And they don't have the general public coming to buy it there. They end up taking it to the labs, and then from the labs, after they're approved there, then they take it to the dispensary. So it doesn't increase traffic. It doesn't increase anything but the economy. This was voted on, and I want to stress this again, it was voted on over, well, now it's 2015, it was about 15 years ago. Voted on by the public, and it was in our county nearly 65% of our county, including my precincts that I represent, voted 63 to 65% in favor of medical marijuana. So what we did was we put processes in place to make it as safe as possible, to make it as unintrusive as possible. The one in particular that will be going on Thousand Air and Hafen Ranch Road will be fenced completely in. We're going to get them to plant the trees back that died there. They will not have a sign. They could have a sign, but we've limited cultivation facilities to 2 foot by 2 foot. And if they were going to have one, we were going to have it face Thousand Air, not Hafen Ranch Road. But the owners said they're not going to have a sign, they're just going to have their address, because that's all they need. Again, the people coming there are by appointment. Anything they bring in that they need to work their products with is people will know it's the address. They don't need a sign, not open to the public. I think within a year or a year and a half from now, when it's up and running and fully grown back out, it'll look like it did before. When you drive by it, it'll be a fence with a bunch of trees. You'll never know it's there. I'm hoping, and again, I am sorry for those people who did all that work, and I appreciate all the work you did in getting the signatures. But the use was commercial manufacturing industrial. Now we go to property rights. I can't tell the owners of that property, you can't do the use that has been historically used there. Anyway, back to whatever it is I'm against it. The CCA facility, again, the Corrections Corporation of America runs a Southern Nevada detention facility up here on Mance Road, and And again, a good shout out to them. Been great community partners. They have donated to local charities consistently. They've given, we had a Boys and Girls Club, but they've given to the youth group in our area money every year. The jobs that they brought in, amazing. Amazing jobs. The salaries are great. The amount that they've put in, everything else. What else can I say? You can tell I'm winging it today, folks. I had a long weekend too at the Fall Festival. So when we come back, we're going to talk about, I want to talk about Ben Carson, I think. And we're going to talk about politicians in general, particularly at the national level and what's coming up and how the media handles that and how it's going to affect us here locally. It seems like, of course, Las Vegas is a big stop for these people because Nevada now is, you know, one of the earlier primary states or caucus states, whatever it is. Kind of don't like the caucus thing, but anyway. So we get a lot of them come through. A lot of them in the last few elections actually came up to Pahrump, came to Tonopah, and Nye County was important to them, and we're glad about that. We just wish that a few more of them would have the intestinal fortitude to say what they mean and mean what they say and follow the law, and that refers to Yucca Mountain. But when we come back, I want to talk about Ben Carson in particular, because Ben was my choice going forward. I mean, there's a lot of, I think the Republican Party has a great lineup of people to choose from for their presidential candidate. Unfortunately, for the Democrats, they only have an old socialist running. Oh, and Bernie Sanders, too. So we've got a lot of good people to choose from. Ben Carson was my pick. I would like to see Scott Walker as his vice president. That would be great, I think, and I'll tell you why when we come back. Or just recently been thinking Carly Fiorina would be good. You know, I wanted Walker, and I'll tell you why I wanted who and what. Let that seep in a bit. But for all you Republicans out there, if your guy doesn't make it through the primary, okay, because we had this for the last few years, you didn't make it through the primary, so you took your ball and you went home. I get that. Believe me, I don't want Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton. But we're going to talk more about that when we come back because I think I'm running out of time. Suffice it to say, we should not have royal families. We fought a revolutionary war to get rid of kings, to get rid of that class system that says you're born into this and that's your lot in life. So the only way you can be in national politics is if your parents were. I really like us to go back to citizen legislators, and that's why I support them. Stick around, I'll tell you all about it next.